Welcome to Tauros All Access. I'm Lauren Hill, joined by Evan Epstein, and today is the Thursday edition, also known as the weekend preview, as our Tauros travel to Austin, Minnesota for games 1 and 2 of the first round of playoffs.
Tauros taking on the Austin Bruins to start the postseason. Two very talented teams that have been neck and neck all season long. 4-4 in the season series, and they played each other 2 straight weekends out in late March. Went 2-2. That first Friday out in Austin, Tauros picked up a 3-1 win. Despite getting outshot 51-29, Lucas Vedin stood on his head, made 50 saves on 51 shots as Gavin Middendorf picked up the hat trick, 2 breakaway goals, and an empty netter as the Tauros won the first Friday in Austin.
And as for that second game in Austin, the Tauros did drop the game after giving up 4 goals in the first period, getting shut out 5-0.
And then you look at game 1, or really Friday out in Minot the following week. Tauros led most of the way, right? They were up 2-1 with time trickling down in the third period. Hubert Clark, a massive hit, becomes a major penalty and an ejection, and the Bruins would take over from there. 4 late goals gave them a 5-2 win. But Cody Campbell said it in the interview yesterday. Some of those hits, some of those bigger hits where you see major penalties and ejections, he doesn't expect to see them in the postseason this year, primarily because both sides know discipline is going to be a large factor in this series, and neither side wants to go down a man for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and to round out that 4-game stretch against the Austin Bruins, game 2 of that second weekend in Minot, the Tauros outshot the Bruins 42-32 as Olmazenko allowed just 1 goal on 32 shots as the Tauros would win that game 4-1.
And you think about that game out of the 4, that's the one the Tauros need to try and replicate. They outshot the Bruins 42-32, like you said, and went wire to wire. They controlled the entire way. You think about that Friday win out in Austin. Yes, they won the game, but the Bruins controlled the flow of the game, heavily outshooting the Tauros, and they controlled the pace of the game, right? Lucas Vedin stood up as that's what gave the Tauros the win.
Yeah, and as for the 2 goalies on both teams, but 4 in total, Lucas's save percentage leads the pack at a whopping .940.
All 4 of those guys putting up very impressive numbers. Personally, I expect to see Jack Solomon and Lucas Vedin between the pipes for both respective sides for Game 1 on Friday, but because of how good both goaltenders have been for both teams, you don't know who's going to start on Saturday. If either one of the 2 goaltenders falters, you very well could see Will Mazenko or Carl Axelson in Game 2, and they do call Carl Axelson Saturday night Carl out in Austin. I think he's just happened to have played very well when he's played on Saturday. But either way, you don't know who you're going to see.
Yeah, and all 4 goaltenders have had mixed results when playing against each other. You mentioned that Lucas was standing on his head on Friday in that game in Austin, but he did give up 4 goals in the first. And the very next day, Carl Axelson, after posting a 20-save shutout in Austin, did give up 3 goals the following week in a loss.
And if you think about the head-to-head numbers for all 4 of these goaltenders, it's Will Mazenko who's had the best head-to-head numbers. Mazenko's played in 3 games against the Bruins. 2 starts, he's 2-0. He's given up just 4 goals. He's made over 80 saves. Most recently, 31 saves, just 1 goal allowed in that final game of the regular season series here in Minot. He has enjoyed playing against the Austin Bruins.
Yeah, and something to definitely note, Tauros fans, you have seen them plenty of times in the postseason, but this will be our 8th postseason series against the Austin Bruins. One you may remember, Tauros swept them last year, including a dominant 9-1 win in Game 1.
And while you might not necessarily think about that series as having an impact on this series, Tauros have a handful of returning players, and that means they have postseason experience, starting with John Small, who put up 4 goals and an assist in the 9 postseason games for the Tauros in last year's run.
Yeah, and Adam Mahler and Jacko Hannesen have been with the Tauros for their past 2 postseason runs, so this should be a very exciting just postseason in general for both guys.
And add on someone we've been talking about all show long, right? Lucas Vedin, 3-1 over that stretch. And I think it's also important to note, it's not just playoff experience, but it's pretty successful playoff experience, as this is a team that went to the semifinals of the Robertson Cup, ended up falling to the Maryland Black Bears, but they made it out of the Central Division, winning the first 2 rounds. And if you want to think about postseason success, you've got to talk about Ian Spencer. 4 goals and 3 assists in the playoffs last year. That first night against the Austin Bruins, 2 goals and an assist. He really enjoyed playing in kind of that elevated playoff atmosphere, as I took the chance to talk to Ian Spencer after practice this morning. I'm here with Ian Spencer. Ian, you have postseason experience from last year. How do you take that experience and apply it now to this season?
I mean, we got the same opponent. We've played them like 4 times in the last month, so I think we're already pretty prepared, and everybody on the ice is confident, and it's all about confidence. And obviously playoffs, it's a different beast, but everybody's ready, so it's pretty exciting.
I know we're going back in time a while, but your first playoff game with the Tauros last year, you had 2 goals and an assist. What was it about the big moment in the playoffs that helped you elevate your game?
I mean, it just matters a little more for everybody, and you kind of want to do it for your teammates, and that just adds a little sense of pride in you. And I mean, points obviously matter, but it's kind of just about playing your best, like systematically, 200 feet. So I had the guys around me helping me out, and that's why I think pretty excited for playoffs, because I think we're a playoff team. So
Tauros start the playoffs at Austin for games 1 and 2. What's going to be the key to going into Austin and picking up 2 wins?
I mean, just like I said, we're doing a lot of film, just sticking to our systems. Everybody's just got to kind of care a little bit more. Do it for the guy next to you, and if you have that mindset, I think good things will happen.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
It's always good to hear from Ian Spencer, our top leading scorer. With that, let's look at our updated skater stats. As Ian sits still at number 1 with 71 total points on the season, as he tied with Hunter Longy for most points scored in a season by a Toro on Friday night. So big congratulations to Ian, as well as the fact that Gavin Middendorf has made his way onto this top 5 list with a total of 52 points on the season and 33 total goals.
And some of those points did come with the Chippewa Steel,
Yes.
but overall, you look at the top scorers for the Toros, and to add John Small in there, he's over 50 points as well. 6 Toros, over 50 points. Those 6 players all make up the top 2 lines for the Toros, as they've accounted for 135 of the 208 goals the Toros have scored all season long. Really an astronomical figure there. We've talked about it all show. First round of the playoffs coming up. You see it right here. Games 1 and 2 tomorrow and on Saturday out in Austin, 7:05 p.m. Make sure you're tuning into those games. Games 3 and 4 will happen here in Minot. Game 3 tickets are on sale, so make sure you are heading to buy those tickets. Season ticket holders, you'll have until April 21st to claim your tickets. There's an offer in your account. After that, they will open up to the public. And Game 4 tickets will go on sale at a later date. We will keep you posted on that. Game 5 would be out in Austin the following Monday if it were to happen. Lauren, it's going to be a fun weekend. I'm excited for the postseason run with the Toros. As always, those tickets, buy them at that QR code, as well as any merchandise and anything else you need for the Toros. With that, let's see how the first 2 games of the first round of the playoffs goes, and we will see you next week.